Hi everyone, it's Lindsay from the blog Books for Christian Girls, and today's video is a recent reads video. I will be talking about the books I have read recently, but actually I think I'm just going to mention the middle grade and YA books I have read. I have been trying to branch out a little more, get my toes wet, dip my foot in, however that phrase goes, of secular, I guess more mainstream middle grade fiction. And I have had a couple winners, and I've also had a couple not winners. But I'm going to be sharing about those today, and also some Christian YA I have read recently that I enjoyed. So yes, without further ado, let's begin. So for most of these books, I read them via my library's Libby app or the Scribd, I'm not sure how you say it, that app. They gave a month free trial, so I downloaded it and had lots of fun on it, and I found some good books, and also some books I'm like, wasn't really worth it. So let's just go ahead and start talking. So I want to first set up the premise of this video under the fact that y'all know I love the Mysterious Benedict Society, right? Like, that is my childhood series, is the Mysterious Benedict Society. I recently wrote in one of the reviews of these books that I'm just gonna kind of say it because I don't know how to say it any better. But if my recent reads do not show it, let me explain that I have been on a hunt for a new middle grade book or series that gives me the wonderful vibes of one of my very, very all-time favorite book series, The Mysterious Benedict Society. It's a skyscraper of an order I am all too aware of, but if I find one that just gives me half of that whimsical feeling, I'll be thrilled. And that is what this video is me talking about books that either gave me that half of the feeling or were I let down. So let us begin. So for the secular, mainstream, middle grade, one of the first books was Glass House by Kate Milford. I gave this book 2 stars. The cover is obviously what drew me. It's got that Mysterious Benedict Society vibe. However, I'm not really a fan of books that deal with ghosts or spirits or that kind of stuff. That's just not my thing, and I think it's kind of weird to have in a middle grade book personally, especially when it deals with like murder and stuff. For some reason, that's just a little like, I don't know how I feel about that. So that was the main reason I did not enjoy this book come the end. Now, this is a big book. It was about 400 or 500 pages, so it definitely could have had that vibe of Mysterious Benedict Society. And I loved how the author incorporated her family's own adoption into this main character's story and his adoption, and I loved that aspect. However, the ending of the book just was disappointing, and I'm not one for ghosts and whatnot, so that's why this book got 2 stars. Gorgeous cover though. The next book I want to discuss is The World's Greatest Detective by Carolyn Carlson. I gave this one 2 stars, and mainly it was because I'm not sure how I feel about there being a murder in a middle grade book. It wasn't gruesome by any means, but one of the main characters does find the body, and it's described, and I mean, it was poison, so I mean, it's not like blood or anything, but it's just not sure how I feel about that in a middle grade book. I don't know, that could just be me. It had its really neat point of it kind of felt like a game of Clue in that regard, but I wasn't a fan of the ending. I saw the ending coming, of course, but the ending just, it didn't get me like I was expecting this book to, so disappointing, but oh well. Next book that had the most promising out of these 2 stars was Winter House by Ben Gutterson? I'm sorry, I don't think that's either of those are right. This book had so much potential, y'all. Like, this cover, the opening chapter gives you that Mysterious Benedict Society feel, and then it goes very magical. Elizabeth, the main girl, was great. I loved the puzzles. I love how each chapter started off with a little mini puzzle, word, ladder, puzzle, rhyme, whatever they're called. Thought that was so cool. It had great promise and potential. But the ending, basically how the plot line was the main family, somebody in the family started to want to become a witch to basically curse everybody else and ruin the family's hotel place. So at the very end of the book, there was a scene that I guess could be described as similar to like Mother Gothel's little falling kind of thing. Like, it totally could be considered that, but I would say a little bit more, just a little more on that side. So it was disappointing, and I would have considered the second book, and maybe even I think there's a third book, but it looks like that plot is going to be continued of trying to put this person's spirit back in her body, and it's not my thing. It's not my thing, sorry, but no. Let's get into the books that I did enjoy now. So the first book is actually the only one I have physically here right now, and that is Winterborn: Home for Vengeance and Valor by Ali Carter. This is a very shiny cover. There we go, we'll do it that way. This is again a secular / mainstream middle grade book, and I just thought this was really a fun book. I have read almost all of Ali Carter's YA books, and this is her first middle grade. So I'm like, well, okay, I love spies. I love all of that kind of plot themes. I don't get enough of that in Christian fiction, spies and whatnot, especially in like contemporary fiction. So this one was one I was very much looking forward to picking up, and I ended up giving this about 4 stars, 3.5, 4 stars. I do have a content review of all of these books on Goodreads that I will be linking down below, so if you're interested in any of them, please feel free to check it out. And this book, honestly, I found this content to be fine for maybe a bit older readers or those who are used to reading secular fiction. It was a very interesting story, and even though it's a series, it did not end in a cliffhanger. So I am so appreciative of that. So thankful it didn't end in a cliffhanger, because I gotta wait a while for the next book. So I was a very good person and went out and bought this full price from my indie bookstore during this whole virus situation to support my local bookstore, and now I have my own copy. So that's very exciting. Okay, and the last middle grade secular mainstream book I'm going to mention is a series of 3 books right now. The 4th book's coming soon, and I'm very excited. And that is the Vanderbeekers series. So we have the Vanderbeekers at 141st Street, the Vanderbeekers and the Hidden Garden, and the Vanderbeekers to the Rescue. And out of the 3 books, I would say the second one was probably my favorite, but let's just talk about real quick. In contemporary, or just any YA, any middle grade, how many times have you seen parents? Okay, you've seen parents. Now, were they bossy parents that the kid never got why they didn't understand what the kid wanted to do? Probably. Or were they what I like to refer to the Charlie Brown parents? Wah, 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 wah. Like you never hear them, that kind of thing. Or are they dead? Or missing? You know, that is so common in YA middle grade and middle grade in both Christian and the secular markets. Why? I don't know. Like, I've noticed this multiple times. I'm sure others have. We're missing parents, and we're missing good parents. Well, this series has good parents, and I loved the family wholesomeness of this. It was such a happy, normal, and loving family depicted in this book series, and it was so much fun. The second book I would think is my favorite, mainly because the kids do something that's a lot of hard work for 2 people they really love. And I was just so proud of them. Like, I'm like, gosh, I would babysit y'all in a heartbeat. Y'all are just awesome. This family was just precious. I really enjoyed this one. So, like, if you're looking for a good middle grade book that's pretty clean, I definitely recommend this series to check out, because I liked it, and I'm definitely looking forward to the 4th book, and I'm definitely going to get the copies for my own bookshelf because they were really good. And moving on to the Christian fiction, I have 3 books to talk about, and the first one is the Allison O'Brian series by Melody Carlson. Volume 1 and Volume 2 is what I read, and I enjoyed this series. I gave them about 3 stars each, and what can I say for fear of spoilers? I'll just talk about the first book. So no spoilers, let's just talk about it. So Allison, this is set right after World War II, and Allison is our main girl, obviously. And she has a very estranged relationship with her movie star mother and does not know really anything about her biological father until she comes across a letter. And as you can tell, that is where the story begins, and there's a great adventure, there's mysteries, maybe a little bit predictability, but that's okay. That's okay. That means things will work out well for our character, right? Right? Yes. Okay. I don't really see a lot of historical YA, I would say, especially in the Christian genre. So this series is special to me in that way, and it stands out because of that. There are a little few parts, like content, mainly of the first book of Allison does lie quite a bit, and she also has thoughts and actions that don't think were the best thoughts or actions or ideas. But she learns. It's a growing process. There is a decent amount of character development. I would say, though, I still enjoyed that first volume compared to the second volume, because the second volume was a little more teen drama. So, there you go. So the last book I'm going to be talking about is a Christian YA, and it is Victoria Grace, The Jerkface by S.E. Clancy. I gave this book 3 stars, and there were many aspects of this book I did like, and then there also were some I wasn't a fan of, but that's pretty normal, I would say. So one thing I really did like about Victoria Grace was that she was very real. She was awkward in an legitimately awkward way. It was not the awkward for the sake of making the reader laugh awkward or weird. She was awkward in the sense of giving the reader secondhand embarrassment, because you have probably done something very similar if you were also socially awkward like me. So I enjoyed her for that reason. I thought she was very real. Her thoughts and actions were very realistic. Again, I keep saying that word, but that's the best way I can describe her, is she wasn't perfect. She had her faults and her flaws just like anyone, and I think the author did a really good job in showing that. As for the items I wasn't a fan of, she does comment quite a bit on some cute guy's chest and biceps and all of that, and I thought it was a little much. Like, okay, a couple times, okay, sure, fine, whatever, but she kept mentioning it, and I thought that was a little awkward in my opinion. And then there also was a bit of what I would consider language. Now again, I have a full content review, so if you would like to see what word she said or anything else, you can fully check out that review, linked in the description below. She said, though, a couple words that I strongly dislike, so that also affected my rating, because I really easily could have given this a 4-star. But because of those main things, it just wasn't quite fully my cup of tea. Like, it was good, but I don't know. And as y'all know, I love trying out contemporary YA when it's Christian, because that is for some reason one of my favorite genres, if not my favorite genre. So I was very excited to try it, and I definitely will be looking forward to seeing what this author does next, and if she does more contemporary YA, I will definitely look into giving it a try. Alright everyone, that is my recent reads for middle grade and YA. I did read like a few other books, some historical books, that kind of thing. But I just wanted to talk about these books today, because I do get asked often if I ever have any secular or mainstream fiction recommendations, because maybe your library doesn't carry as many Christian fiction books, or it's hard to get Christian fiction where you live, and I understand that. So I wanted to try to talk maybe a little bit more about series that are maybe easier availability to y'all. So of course, the Mysterious Benedict Society is a series I love and recommend all the time. And then I also had a couple new books that I got to recommend, and then also some Christian fiction. So there we go. I hope this video was helpful. I'd love to know if you have read any of these, or if you want to read any of these, let me know, and I would love to chat about it in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Lindsay from the blog booksforchristiangirls.blogspot.com, where in 2020 there is a new review every Monday and Friday. I have a new video on this channel kind of every other Thursday, and I'm on Instagram somewhat randomly, but I'm trying to do better. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye!